Okay, looks like we're live. Check the stream here. Uh-oh, nobody's in. I'll give people a few minutes, but if nobody shows, I'm just going to start without you guys. All right, health of the signal is good. Scott Balo's here. Cupie, Julie, Shari D, Jonar Games. Welcome, everyone. Okay. So I wanted to start off with some images from my own yard. I think the last few shifts probably were pretty big because I'm just noticing a lot of little changes around. And this is one of them. We have an ice plant in the yard here. And the ice plant has yellow flowers, or at least it always used to have yellow flowers. And now I looked out the window there and I saw that a lot of the flowers looked orange. And what they're doing now is they turn orange before they close. So you get something like this, where they start yellow, then they turn orange, and then they're almost red when they close. So that's a new one, because I used to just look out there and see yellow flowers only. But now there's a nice range. It's pretty. But another thing I did notice was this little guy in here, there was a lot of bees on these, and I took a look at them. And they looked really weird. So, what do I notice about this bee? I did a close-up of him. See if I can get it to get bigger here. Okay, so this is the bee that was just wild in front of the yard. This is the first thing I really noticed, was that his butt is white. I do not recall there being white ones. They used to be black and orange and fuzzy, and their butts are not fuzzy anymore. You look at that guy. Now, most of the ones that were there had like a half white butt. Some of them had more orange, and some of them had all white. But none of them really looked normal, and they weren't fuzzy like they used to be. I think the abdomen is also a little longer. I did a little research into these guys, and I noticed something that this is probably why. Apparently, bees now have 8 glands along their abdomen where they secrete wax, and that's how they secrete the wax for their hive building. Now, in my old timeline, they used to just chew it and masticate it out of their mouth. They didn't have it on their butt. And this one's interesting because if you look for pictures of bees, whatever you call it, emitting this wax out of their butt, there's almost no pictures. And so that's kind of weird. I mean, the storyline is that they usually only do it inside the hive, and that's why there's no photos. But if you're into beekeeping at all, you know there's a lot of hives that they put glass fronts on so everybody can see the bees. And so there's really no reason why there wouldn't be more than like 5 pictures online of bees secreting this wax. But anyway, so I think this one is pretty new, and I also think that's probably why these guys need to have a cleaner, longer abdomen because of the wax building. If they're all fuzzy, then if they emit wax from there and they're all fuzzy, they're going to get all sticky, and the fuzz is going to stick to the wax. So I think that's the reason for the bees. Let's see what's up with everybody. Creek Mary, still awake, been trying to make this channel. Hey, Creek Mary, thanks for staying up. Yes, I noticed bees too. I saw one with no stripes at all. I asked the person I was with, and they said it was a baby. Now, I haven't really heard that. I mean, they're out of the hive. They're fairly adult. Let's see. All right, so one other thing I did find, I'm going to close these ones down. I found this little article. There's not much on this, but basically they're saying that your hive can have all different colored bees in it. And I have some friends that have hives. I've never heard of this. But you could see that this guy here, he's kind of got a lot of black and a little bit of white. This guy has got a lot of orange and then the white butt. And those, the ones with the white butt and the orange, those are supposed to be Western honeybees, the most common kind of bee. I looked that up the other day. Now this guy's like almost all white. Some of these are almost black in here, and it's all the same hive. So I ran into this, and it's like, why are my honeybees different colors? I've never heard of them being different colors, and this is really the only article I could find on it. But the storyline is that the female mates with multiple males, and the males all have different genetics, and it's actually good if your hive has all these different color bees in them. Now, in my old timeline, all bees were about the same color, so even if they mated with multiple males, you would not get a bunch of colors of bees like this. So it just seems like there's a lot more variation in the bee colors now, and as somebody was mentioning there, that might be why you found one that was like without stripes or whatever. And I don't know if you've noticed, but when you bring things up like this to some people, it's almost like they're just making stuff up. It's probably a baby. I haven't seen anything on babies having a different coloration, especially after they leave the hive. So I think that was just like a wild guess on that person's part, I think. And now a species of wasp makes honey. Julie Holcomb, I looked that one up, but it looked like it was a prank video. Because if you look at that video that you had mentioned, the guys never really show any honey in the hive and in the comb. They show a picture of the comb, but then it's all dry and papery. And then later they show a picture of comb with honey in it, but it looks nothing like the comb that was actually on the hive. So I think that was a prank video. And I looked about any other source of that kind of a wasp making honey, and they all said it doesn't. Also, if you look at the spot where he gets stung, it looks like that was fake too. I don't think that he got stung. So anyway, yeah. I mean, it might come true in a couple shifts. Who knows? But for now, I don't think it's a real one. Ronan the Voice. No, I don't think we've got the evidence that wasps makes honey yet. Let me just see if we can find anything. But last time I looked, makes honey. There was a joke video on it, but every other source says no. No, every source says no, but that one weird video, and I think that was a prank video. I mean, it wouldn't really surprise me if I don't see where that video is now, but yeah, Sharidi, that might be a preview. That might be like the opening round of an ME, but it's not official reality yet. Mexican honey. All right, let me look that one up because I don't think that's the video that somebody else. Maybe was that you that gave me that link? Mexican honey wasp. All right. Because the link I had before was like some dude in like Austria or something. Somebody left a link. I thought it was you. Social wasp found in both North and South America. Oh, okay. All right, then. You know, I looked this up like 2-3 weeks ago, and there was nothing. Brachygastra mellifica. Now, was it you, Julie, that sent me that video about the guy in Europe? And that was the video I was just talking about. Was that you, or is that somebody else? Neotropical social wasps. They can be found from southern United States and northern Argentina. So that would be like by me, basically. Huh. Okay. Well, I stand corrected. Pollinator. It is thought that wasps and stingless bees were the first pollinators of the avocado. One of the few insects besides bees to create and store their own honey. Okay, so that means there's more than one honey creator besides this wasp and besides bees? Comparable to that of honeybee, mesquite honey. Huh, that's interesting. Doesn't say anything about husbandry of them, though. I wonder if we'll be, Huh. Okay. Well. All right, so let's see what Julie had to say about my question. Julie, you sent me a link about these Texas ones? Really? These Texas ones. All right. I don't think that was my timeline, my friend. It was some dude in like Austria. Didn't I respond to your... Okay, I got a link for this dude in Austria saying that he was trying to tame the wild wasps and use them for honey, and it was kind of a joke video. But then I responded that, oh no, that's not real. I checked into it. I didn't, and I looked for any other wasps that made honey, but I did not find anything. That's pretty weird. Okay. Later on I'll have to see if I can find that link. I don't know if it's shifted or what, but let's see. Let's just see what happens if you just type in a Google for wasps that make honey. Can anything be found? Up there it is. It's like the 10th down or something. Mexican honey wasp, good or bad? All right, but I saw something here I want to see. What other insects make honey? Honey ants. Ah, honey ants make it. So I think these other two are like bumblebees. Honey wasps, no, okay. All right, so apparently we have honey wasps, honey bees. I better look up these names and see what these are. Apinae, those are the regular bees for sure. Stingless bees. Stingless honeybees. Okay, I don't think I really know about those either. Stingless bees, sometimes called stingless honeybees, or meliponines, are a large group of bees comprising the tribe Meliponini. Huh. Have stingers, but they are highly reduced and cannot be used for defense. They're the only type of stingless bee. I think I want one of those. They can be used for minor honey production. They may be kept successfully in boxes. Huh. Okay, so there's a new source of potential honey. These stingless bees. Those are cool. I think this bombus are let me see. I think they're the big bumblebees. Yeah, they're the big bumblebees. Okay, so we now have stingless bees, regular bees, bumblebees, ants, and these Mexican wasps. If anything else comes out, keep an eye out for it. And a good find to Julie Holcomb. I swear it was you that sent me this other link, though. Anyway, I looked into it and it was fake, but this one's not. This is legit. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm going crazy. Okay. Dead GPK. A few years ago, I thought bees were going extinct and we were in trouble. You know, it seems like that a lot of the narrative we're getting is actually going opposite of what's really happening. Like they keep saying that all these creatures are going extinct, but what we're really getting is a lot more new creatures. And the ones that were really threatened in my old timeline, now there's a ton of them. They were almost, all the ones that were almost extinct now there's a ton of them. And then the new animals come in and they're almost extinct. But then after a couple of years, they're just threatened. So I think that's what happens. They come in and they're really rare and almost extinct, and they actually go in the opposite direction. But you get this drumbeat of almost extinct, almost extinct. So it's like what they're saying is the opposite of everything. It just really seems like a lot of the narrative just goes opposite of what we're figuring out now with the ME. The honey badger. Yeah, Julie, just wait. That thing's gonna make honey too, man. Just squeeze it out of his tail or something. Okay, so anyway, next one's on the docket now that we've covered those guys. Shoink. Those are the multicolored. Okay, somebody brought this one up. Thomas Larson brought up the Baltic Sea salinity is stratified. So what does that mean? Okay, here's the Baltic Sea. This is like the Sweden-Finland branch all in here. And the Baltic Sea is all in here. And what's interesting about what he's saying is that this whole region's changed a giant ton for me. It wasn't all pinched in like this, but what they're saying now is that all the salty water goes to the bottom and the fresh water stays in the top. And some of this area in the north has freshwater style wildlife in it, like fish and stuff in it now. So basically, it's kind of turning fresh water because the salt is all staying on the bottom. So I'm wondering if this is kind of a push for a lot, again, more freshwater, inland freshwater. And also, I like this particular image because it shows how much water is really coming in that area, because you can see all the lakes. I mean, look at, there's just rivers and lakes everywhere. That one's kind of stretched out. But see, like here, I think that this is almost going to it looks like it's almost going to come through there. It's going to be almost all the way cut off maybe, or something like that, because the rivers just keep growing here. So here's the little spiel about the salinity. The water of the Baltic Sea is permanently stratified according to the level of salinity. Salty sea water flowing from the North Sea is heavier and sinks to the bottom and deep basins of the Baltic Sea. The surface layer consists of water diluted by rainwater and numerous rivers. The stratification hinders water turnover between bottom and surface layers. So they're arguing that because of the stratification, it's kind of a weird argument. They're arguing because of the stratification, the waters don't mix. Like somehow the stratification is inhibiting the churning of the waters. So, I mean, that whole thing is really weird to me. I mean, salt water just used to mix with other water, but in this timeline, it's like the salt water just kind of sticks to itself or something. It's weird. But anyway, so the argument here is the stratification prevents the unstratification, which does not make a ton of sense to me, but there you go. So the population of the Baltic Sea is an unusual combination of freshwater and ocean flora and fauna. So yeah, basically, there you go. You've got fresh water basically now in the Baltic Sea. Bula whales, they were almost gone not less than a decade ago. Now they're classified as least concern. That's my no-no. Exactly. It's just stuff like that. I mean, even the bald eagle, they kept saying they were almost going to die out, and now there's like a ton of them. Buffalo was the same, but you can buy the beef. Yeah, buffalo is an interesting story because some people have said that way back they remember those being extinct, like the white man hunted them to extinction. And I do remember that, although it was a long time ago. And then suddenly I started hearing about people having farms of them. And then there was a big herd of them over on this military base. And then pretty soon they were everywhere. So, yeah, I don't know about that. I suspect that's an ME. It's not one that my memory is super clear on, but I do remember being surprised a couple times that there were buffalo all over when I had thought that there weren't. Beluga. Okay, I didn't even recognize that other one, but yeah, a lot of that stuff that was nearly extinct or going to die in the next 2 decades is now there's tons of them. And now we have a new batch of things that are going to be extinct in the next 2 decades. But the way things are going, I mean, we may know, well, they're growing a lot faster. Mr. MB333 reported on antisolar arcs, and not even he heard of them before. Exactly, dead GPK. That's where I got it from. I got it from Mr. MB333 with the antisolar arcs. I'll get to them. They're somewhere on there. Heart's Truth. Yeah, I remember the buffalo extinct or at least nearly. Yeah, I think I thought they were extinct too, and then I heard that they had some herds, and I'm like, oh, must have been wrong. Talking about Baltic Sea, but is it at sea level? Because it would have to be above sea level for it to be fresh, if you're going to take into account gravity into the equation. Well, I mean, the Baltic Sea just feeds. See, here's the Baltic Sea. It just feeds out into the ocean. So there's no way that that's above sea level. It's basically part of the oceans and the sea. So they're arguing that somehow the salinity is pushed down or something. It's weird. I mean, I know what you're saying, but what you're saying is old world. And new world, apparently this is possible. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me because in my timeline, salt water just mixed, and there might be some gradient, but it wouldn't be like cut off like that. In fact, way, way, way back, I don't think I even remember there being a gradient. I think the gradient thing started about 15 years ago when they said some areas are more salty than others. I think if you go way back, that storyline wasn't there. Okay, so next one here. There's the Baltic. Okay, this one. All right. I know I reported on lightning before, but it's gotten more weird looking even since I did the last video. And this video here was on Reddit, front page of Reddit. I think it was front page of Reddit. It might have been WTF, but. So check out this lightning now. This is normal speed lightning. It's not slowed down or anything. This is how lightning apparently supposedly acts now. Do you see it just lingers and lingers? And it spreads out like fingers. Let's see if I can rerun that one. Rerun. Because I just don't get tired of looking at that one. That's how lightning is now. It has the leader, I think they were calling it, and then the what was that one? Fortunately, I'm totally disorganized today. Lightning, the leader and the return strike. So you get like one leader, and then let's see, so one finds the route, and then it just keeps hitting over and over and return strikes there. Anyway, that one just trips me out. There was a little bit of crawling last time I checked, but now it's just ridiculous. Heart's Truth. The lightning never used to be. I know. It looks fake, but I looked at a lot of videos. I mean, that's a more striking one, if you'll pardon the pun. But see, if you check them out, there's actually quite a few like that. Lightning. Whoops, new spelling. Lightning, YouTube. Let's look at some of this best lightning compilation here. I'm going to kill the sound. Not sure if that one's... Nope. I don't think that one's going to be a good video. Let's see. Let's try this one. Nope, that one's not showing the slow speed. Let's try this one. After the commercial. YouTube's been playing full ads lately, so there's no escaping them. You used to be able to click out on a lot of them, but I noticed a lot of them now, you have to wait until the end. There's no clicking out. All right, here we go. All right, that's a slow-mo. Looks like these are all slow-mo. You can see how they're moving now, bit by bit. In my old timeline, it was just one flash. It was like instant. Now, I could have seen it. You could slow them down and maybe see something, but look at how slow those were. Look at that one. Anyway, I don't like to play too much video because I could get a copyright strike if I go to town on them. Okay, so anyway, there's the weird lightning. Should probably cover the next thing, which was... This one was from Sagittarius Craig on Retconned, and he noticed some other new lightning stuff, and it was jellyfish lightning. Okay, so this is kind of a new thing. We've heard about the sprites, but now the sprites, I guess, are starting to look like jellyfish. So these sprites it's that weird lightning that comes above clouds, and it comes like way high above the clouds. In my old timeline, that was just a legend or a rumor. The scientists didn't take it seriously, and you'd see it on the really esoteric paranormal channels. But in this timeline is fairly accepted as legitimate, and also it's just been getting like more and more and stronger. I mean, if you saw that in the sky, wouldn't you just flip out? So this is I guess the jellyfish lightning. And it goes the other way up to the atmosphere. There's an example of it. And sometimes it looks like a jellyfish. Jellyfish sprite. Oh, it's a sprite. It's not a... Yeah, it's a sprite. That's correct. Okay. Check it out. So... They're just getting a lot more prominent now. You just used to, when I first was looking into this, there was just a couple little skinny white lines. And now it really does look like a jellyfish. Someone in here, let's see. So this is an example of regular lightnings down here. And then there's the storm. And you get the, I think these were the blue something, I forgot what they call them, and then the sprites, and then these were the elves, which is this weird donut-shaped light that comes often with the sprites. Oh, these were blue jets down here. Blue jets. Anyway, so that's what's going on with the lightning light phenomena deal right now, is that they're just more and more all the time. So pretty weird. So that was Sagittarius Craig. He finds a lot of them, although he usually does animal ones. A lot of my animal ones come from him. Okay, so shoebill. Somebody found this, and I'm not sure if they just mentioned shoebill or I found it, but here's what's weird about this. Apparently, these shoebills, I mean, they are an ME for a lot of people, but they've been their story has gotten weirder and weirder. And one thing you may notice on this shoebill is they have a really hooked beak now. When they first came out, they didn't have that sharp hook thing. They also make a noise that sounds like a submachine gun, We're about to hear that right now. That's his little beak. It's clapping it. It's clapped. It sounds like a machine gun. So pretty weird. Okay. And some other weird things about these. Okay, they're supposed to have razor sharp beaks so that they decapitate their prey. And they hunt alligators even. So they will catch, I assume, a small alligator. And they will actually decapitate the alligator and then eat it. So they're pretty dangerous little guys. Supposedly, they're not big on attacking humans, but they can decapitate an alligator with that beak, so you don't want to mess with them. Another thing that I think I've mentioned this before, that is one of my least favorite things about the new animals, is that some of them are just really gross. And I was reading on the shoebill, and it said that they will poop on their feet in order to keep their feet cool. So that's really gross too. And also another thing about shoebill is they lay 2 eggs, and the older one will kill the younger one, and the mother lets it happen, and it's that whole survival of the fittest thing. But it just seems like a lot of the new animals are just more gross, with the poop and pee and the slime and the blood and the killing, and they're just So anyway, although these things look pretty cool, there's definitely some gross things going on with these things. Let's see. Have you ever seen an alligator and a crocodile swimming side by side? No, I'm not sure on that one. The other day I had some crocs swimming with sharks. That was definitely new for me. But I do think I remember there being places where alligators and crocs coexisted in Australia way back. Just going through the chat here. Google blue waffle effect. Okay. All right, let's give it a try. Blue waffle effect. What in the heck? Blue waffles disease? It causes a woman's discharge to become blue. Don't give me the blue waffle effect BS. So there's an urban dictionary for blue waffle. So it's some kind of gross disease that women get that blue stuff comes out. Blue waffle. All right, I don't even want to look at it anymore. But anyway, yeah, that's gross. And I never heard of it. You think you would have, like everything, but... All right, so there's the shoebills, and the shoebills are gross. Hummingbird bee. Julie, yes, I've seen that one. Let's run through it, but yeah, that one is weird. Wait, hummingbird bee. You know what? I had the hummingbird moth I've seen. I don't think I've seen the hummingbird bee. Hummingbird moth, hummingbird bees. Hummingbird bees are okay, so maybe it's the same thing. Let me look at it. Last I checked, they were hummingbird moths. No, that's something different. I haven't seen that one. All right, clear wing hummingbird moth. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's not the critter I saw before. Well, maybe it's supposed to be. The one I saw before was a hummingbird moth. It didn't have this stripe business going on when I first saw it. I mean, it does fly a lot like a hummingbird, but the coloration is totally different. And it didn't have these really prominent feelers before. I don't know if this is the same guy or not. I'm going to see what hummingbird moth yields. And when I was looking up hummingbird moths before, there was no, that nobody was using that word bee. Okay, so, okay, this is a lot like the one I saw before here. This is a guy. All right, so apparently it looks like there's a ton of them now. There's a ton of kinds of these. Wonder what the wiki will say. Hummingbird. Let me just see what it looks like. There's a whole bunch of styles of them now. So the hummingbird bee is like a style that looks bee-like. Nature's incredible mimic. Oh, you know what? It might have been this one, the hummingbird hawk moth. Nope, it wasn't that one. Okay. So, yeah, it looks like there's a lot of kinds now. Hummingbird moth, sphinx moth, hawk moth. That must be that bee moth. Snowberry clearwing hummingbird moth. So it's part bee, part moth, and part hummingbird. Guess we were running out of stuff to invent. It's hard to keep up this stuff. One shows up and the next thing you know, there's 50 kinds. I'll go back to the images and take a nice check. Look at all these kinds. It's clear wing one. That one's cool. There's red ones, orange. Look at this one. Doink. Pretty pinks. Shrink this down a little bit. Okay, so yeah, there's at least 3-4 kinds of them now, looks like. Huh. Yep, another good find. Hummingbird bee moth. Somehow I've gotten totally out of order on this chat. There was a video of a camel eating cactus, and that was strange. You know, my old timeline, I don't think they ever really described what camels ate. I mean, I don't think I even remember even knowing. Freshwater sharks. Yeah, I think I saw that about 6 months ago, the freshwater sharks. I mean, the sharks all used to look shark-like. Now they just call all kind of stuff sharks. It doesn't look anything like the old sharks. You've got freshwater dolphins and freshwater seals and freshwater sharks, and everything that was saltwater is now got a freshwater version. Oh yeah, the figs now have the wasps and all the eggs. That's gross. Mystery fright. These birds remind me of something I would see on the Flintstones. Yeah, I assume you're talking about those shoebills. Yeah, that is funny. They do look like. Now that I think about it, you're right. It looks like one of the furniture birds or something, like a lamp bird, or it really does. Now that I have that in my head, it's going to be stuck there. All right, let's see. So where are we at? Okay, this thing was just weird, and this was actually, I think, on that MBR333 channel also. He mentioned this. But so basically, people taking a photo of the moon, and then you get this The story now is, well, first of all, there's the earthshine, ME. So I don't know if you've noticed, but the part of the moon that's supposed to be dark, you can now kind of see it sometimes. Not just the bright crescent, but also the dark side is slightly illuminated. I think Scott Harrison was talking about that, and I'd noticed that too. And they call that earthshine. And the story is that although that part of the moon is blocked from the sun can still hit the earth, and the earth reflects the light back onto the moon, letting you, and then assumedly bounce back to here, and that's how you can see it with your eyes. That light has to go from sun to earth, earth to moon, and then moon to our eyes. And that's how we can see a little bit of the dark side of the moon. And they call that earthshine. So the latest story is that light can bounce off the moon and then somehow make an image in your camera of a globe. So and this is kind of a weird story because they're not really clear on what image you're seeing of it. And I saw it on that MRB333 channel, but he didn't really seem like he understood it. And he pointed everybody to here. Each month, normally in the week following the new moon, earthshine becomes apparent on the lunar surface. This spectacular phenomena exposes the dark, non-illuminated side of the moon with light reflected back off the Earth's surface. In this image, the light being reflected back off the moon created a projection of globe. And so what does that mean? It created a projection of globe. So I'm assuming it's this thing. So is that a projection of the Earth? And it's kind of blue too. A projection of globe. I think that they mean that it projects an image of the Earth back on your camera. So to be clear, when you look with your eyes, you do not see this thing. But then when you look at your photo, it's there. Somehow it projected it into the camera. The whole thing is weird, but this guy's supposed to be this like famous astrophotography expert dude, and he's supposed to know what he's talking about, Jeremy Hetrick. So, I mean, I'm not disputing that he does or doesn't, but there's just not much info on this phenomena. But what was weird was just days after I heard of this phenomena, somebody posted on, they linked it, that there was one on Reddit, and it was the same thing. And they're like, well, what is this? I take a picture of the moon, and then there's this thing, and they didn't see it except for on the camera. And it looks like it's the exact same thing. It happened around the same time range. So apparently that's a thing now that your camera can do or will do, or that's the storyline for why it does that. So anyway, just keep an eye on it. Whenever I see something twice in a very short period of time that's weird, I figure that thing's starting to go viral now. So anyways, very beautiful imagery. This one's just amateur hour here. This wasn't anybody claiming to know what they're doing. But yeah, weird. Okay, so let's see. Oh, here's another thing. Way back in my old timeline, the bottom of the sea in the deep, deep area was said to not have much life. And they used to show video of it, and it would just be like sandy and a few scavengers. And they would say, oh, these scavengers would have to go weeks or months without food, and the only thing down here was just debris raining down, and there was no light, and it was all barren. But I've noticed that story's really been changed, and one of the ways it's changing is with this deep water coral. In my old timeline, coral was at a very narrow band near the surface because it had to get a certain amount of light, it had to have a certain temperature, But now they have this stuff called deep water coral, and some of it's really pretty, as you can see. And there's a lot of areas that are just coated with it, and there's a whole ecosystem down there, and pretty colors and stuff. So I think what we're seeing now is just that the whole ocean is going to be really populated, even way down here in the deep regions. There's beautiful, weird creatures down here now. It's not just a bunch of sand. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that one. All right, now I'm going to get to the antisolar arc. This is pretty weird. There's only like one main image of it, really. And that image was, again, on MBR333, his channel. And so it's supposed to be another kind of, we've had those halos around the sun and stuff. So now we have this new one called antisolar arc, and it looks like this Christmas tree looking thing. But apparently if you're in a different region, it'll have a different look. A rare phenomena in which the viewer must be in the exact opposite direction of the sun in order to see arc-shaped light reflections off ice crystals. In the case of the picture on the right, there was a thin layer of ice crystals forming clouds just beneath an airplane. Okay, so they're looking down on it. The viewer was in a window seat of the plane facing directly away from the sun. This is one of those phenomena where you need to be in the right place at the right time to see it perfectly. For the viewer, this rare occurrence only lasted for a few minutes. Well, at least for now, but I'm willing to bet that this extra solar arc thing, I think we'll be seeing more of it. And also just looking around, I mean, there's just so much. There are so many more than just the old halo ones. I mean, there are just, they have names for them, 22 degree this, and it's hard for me to keep track of them all. All of these are supposed to be natural, weird solar arc things. Okay, here's one that kind of shows like the names of them. Ugh, it's not real helpful. Okay, so there's different arcs. Diffuse arcs, perihelic, circle, tricker, subhelic, and Wegener. And there's a whole bunch more names now, too. I'm kind of reluctant to try to memorize them all because they just change too fast and the names are always flipping around. See if I can find them. Some stuff that was there like a couple weeks ago, I now can't find it all. So you're trying to memorize it and it's like changing every day. Oh, what's this one? Primary rainbow, secondary rainbow, Alexander's band. I've never seen that one before. Let's make that one a little bit bigger if I can. Alexander's, I'm pretty sure that says Alexander's band. I'm going to look that one up real quick. I think some of you have probably seen that in between two rainbows it gets like a milky look, and that might be what they're going to say this Alexander's band is. The dark strip of sky inside a double rainbow. Yep. Find some images of it. There you go. Yep. This image again. This image right here is real interesting because it looks like it's smaller here and then wider here. Like the two rainbows seem to have a different arc. The little one versus the big one. They don't parallel each other. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this where it gets dark or milky in between the rainbows. So it looks like that's going to be a thing. Look, this is a more extreme one than I've seen in a while. I mean, that doesn't even look real. It looks fake. Look at that. Look at that. Maybe the whole rainbow is going to get fat now. I wonder if more stuff's going to grow in here because this is more extreme than I've seen it yet. Look at that. God, you just can't make this stuff up. All right. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that one. It's way darker than last time I looked at it. There's just been so much stuff. Shoot. I don't know if that's real or not. I can't read any of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that one was fake, but maybe eventually. Eventually. Look at that one. Sorry, sometimes I kind of forget you guys are here when I see a new one and it's really weird. All right, so I'm just going to type in rainbow only and just see how many of those weird Alexander bands show up. images. Okay, so there's one right there. All right, so it looks like this Alexander band is really taking over. Almost every live image. I just typed in rainbow. I did not type in double rainbow. And look at that. The Alexander band is on almost every one now. Okay, there's some regular ones. This one has a band. This one has a bit of one. That. I wonder if we're going to get like this eventually. I mean, that's supposed to be fake, I'm sure, but it looks to me like the... I wonder if that one's real. Last I checked on this was not real, but... 8 rainbows, quite the phenomena, seen in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, posted on Facebook, May 27, 2016. Sounds like it might be real in this timeline. That's interesting. The last I checked on, there was one similar to this, and they said it was fake. And look, they've got all the dark banding in there, too. Anyway, we're going to have some cool stuff if we, the rainbows are going to get real fat like that. Look at almost every one of them. I mean, 20 years ago, how often did you see a double rainbow? For me, it would be never. Then pretty soon you hear that there's this rare thing called double rainbow. Look at that. It's totally fake looking. Oh, and that's another thing I forgot to mention on here, but it's something I've talked about before. For me, rainbows were more like this, and they were always the same arc. Nowadays, that you get these really flat ones, and that's an ME for me, the flat ones. And this band in here, we never had that. That's been growing for like a year, but it's really dark now. Sergeant Donna Donowitz, good morning from Germany. I wanted to say thank you for informing about Retcon. I joined a few days ago. Well, glad. I hope you like it. You know, we do get a few trolls, but we do try to get rid of them as fast as we can. Don Norton, life is so surreal. Porches on houses in my village keep appearing and disappearing. The whole mountain opposite me has changed completely. I seem to be the only one that can see it. Dawn, you are, yes, you are seeing it. I see the same thing. We've got hills around me, and the rocks are changing, and there's like streaks of rock now that weren't there. I think they're taller than they used to be too, but the heights of the roads change, because I'll be driving along and looking at these, and there'll be days when I can see out my window and I can see the top of the mountain, and then another old day will go and the mountain's too high to look out the window, and then later it's back, and I'm like, but it's the same window, the same car, the same spot, and the same mountain, so it should always be easily visible the same way, but something's bouncing around. I don't know if it's the height of the road or the height of the mountain. I mean, they'll be like one way for a couple of weeks, and then the next week, no. And yeah, the mountain, it's sneaky though. Like, we had this old orchard up there, and then really slowly that orchard just kind of, the trees kind of disappeared over the course of like a month. They just got smaller and stragglier. And I mean, it's not like they cut it down, because if they cut it down, you'll see a big cleared spot, but it just kind of just slowly disappears. And then there'll be an oak tree or two in the middle, and then there'll be, pretty soon there's some whole nother kind of tree completely covering that mountain in the course of like 5 months. And the trees that are there now are old trees. I mean, they're like 20, 30-year-old trees, technically, except for they weren't there before. So, let's see. Oh, what's this one? Huh, that one's interesting because it's kind of open-ended at the top. You can barely see. Huh. Look at how flat that rainbow is, too. Just weird for me. Watching the curious case of, let's see, is this a new ME? I'm not sure what we're talking about. Bites on Jaws logo, Teresa. Where are we with that one? Are we with bites or without bites? Because that one keeps jumping around. Let's see. Well, just do Jaws. Jaws logo. For me, it was bites originally. Okay, so we're at not bites. Yeah, it had bites for me. I think for a while it was the reverse. It was not bites, and then it was, I don't know. That one's flipped a couple times, so I kind of get confused where we're at. But way back it was bites. Oh, yeah, here's one from January 2017 about that one. I could have sworn it had bite taken out of the logo. Yeah. Okay. Background of signs are black. That's from World Church. Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of that by me with the black backgrounds. That might be more by her. There was this one guy in Redcon. I guess I think I'm not sure if this was in the USA. I think it might have been in Canada or something. But they had this thing where they would put pink marked parking for pregnant women so that they didn't have to walk very far. And so he started to see pink. Like within the course of a week, there was this pink parking, pink chairs, all for pregnant people. And they showed up in the course of a few weeks. And since he was already into the Mandela, he looked online at old images of the location, and that pink had been there for years, according to the official reality. So he was kind of freaked out that the pink was taking over. But I never saw any of that here. I don't know if this location doesn't do it, but we never got the pink takeover. Sega video games logo has changed to the E. All right, I'll look at that one. Was it like, oh, yeah, I just didn't know Sega that well, so I can't comment. Dope. Still not good. Oh, maybe that's better. No, that's not better. I tried to change the size, and then it got huge, and then it got microscopic. Better not touch it now. All right. All right. So let's get back on track of all the stuff to do. Okay, so that is that. Doesn't even really have a word for it, because the earthshine is just that we can see the dark side of the moon. So they don't have a word for this reflection in the camera. I'm sure that eventually we'll hear a word for that, but I couldn't find anything. And that one's the same. Okay, we've covered those. And this was some antisolar arc stuff that we were looking at. I'll get rid of that one. Okay, here's another one. We've talked some about the Statue of Liberty the other week, and it got smaller, and she's stepping now. I was just looking at it earlier, and I saw something weird here in the feet region. And there's a couple things. One is she's got sandals now. I do not remember her having sandals. I remember her just being bare feet. And this is what I saw earlier. I couldn't figure out what this is. There was like a bumble at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, and it's this weird bumble that's on the foot. And I don't know what that's about. I guess it's supposed to be the fabric pushed aside, but it didn't do that before. There was just a nice flow and a little bit of toe sticking out, and there was no sandal. So I call Mandela effect on this sandal business. But another thing was this here, there's like, now Mandela Affected channel first cued me in on that that she may or may not have shackles, depending on what timeline you're in. So the last time I looked at this was because of what Mandela Effect had said. And she did have chains, just chains, and they were broken, and they were just on the feet and just kind of, but they weren't attached to anything. But now one of the changes is she's stepping now. So one of these feet is back here, and the chain is left here, and the shackle is off of this foot now. So the shackle is just sitting there. And I just noticed that earlier today, that's a change. That shackle is not on her foot anymore. Now, it used to be that this little shackle thing was not visible. The chain just disappeared under the draping here, and the same for that one. But now, apparently, the idea is that the shackle has been released or something like that. It's just weird. But you look at her foot now, and I don't think I even saw that. I'm not sure if I even saw that shoe on her last week. I remember seeing her foot here, but I don't remember there being that sandal thing there. There it is again. I just remember feet. So that one's a new one. I personally think that's a Mandela effect. There, see, look. You can really see that sandal on there. Maybe it's even like a slipper. See what it looks like here. You know, it's really hard to make heads or tails of what exactly those are supposed to be. All right, I'm going to look up this chains thing. I actually haven't looked this up yet. Broken shackles of oppression. See if there's anything interesting on this. Ugh, there's nothing useful there. Okay, so there you can see the sole of the foot. I'm thinking this must be a replica here. Now that other foot, that's about like I remember it, but I don't remember the bumble that I saw up here. And I do remember the shackles just kind of laying there. I actually don't remember these rivets here either. The shackles were just laying there for me last time I looked. I'm going to do a quick Google and see if they say anything about the shackles and see if that's changed at all. See, that doesn't look right to me at all. I keep seeing that, and I have not seen that before. You know, I've been looking over these things. Okay, so anyways. This one, I think this is one I looked at before, supposedly. We ran the story in 2011, pointing out that the Statue of Liberty wears chains and shackles. We got a lot of feedback of readers who were surprised. Okay, so the storyline was that they wanted it to be a symbol of freedom from shackles, is the current storyline. This guy, Labulaye and Batoldi, wanted to have her holding chains and shackles, but the Americans didn't want that. One of the things that has changed for me, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but originally for me, France gave us the statue. But in current reality, some private investors begged for money until they had enough money to build the statue and bring it here. So it really isn't a gift from France anymore. It's a private investors thing. Anyway, I'm not finding too much about the shackles. Let's try this one. Most people don't know there are broken shackles and chains at the feet of Statue of Liberty. Yeah, see, this is what's different from broken shackles and chains. Last time I checked this, it was just chains. And that's the same storyline. Because she's so tall, you can't see them. Okay. I think that's supposed to be a shackle there. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, Mandela Affected was saying keep an eye on those. And yeah, I mean, we still got the chains, but now we have shackles. So I don't know why that image is there. It's supposed to be of... Anyway, we'll just get rid of that. Nathan Norbius, good morning from Spain. Yeah, it's middle of the night over here. If Skittles change, I'll be upset. Yep, you got to draw the line somewhere. Do not touch the Skittles. You know, actually, no. I think there was an ME about the Skittles commercial that people could not agree on when the Skittles commercial. They were saying it went further back or something. I just wasn't sure on that one, but... Can we still taste the rainbow? Yeah, if you could catch it. You can catch the Skittles pox. Okay, so... I think we covered most of the ones that I had pulled out in advance. Let me see what other ones. Okay, this one was kind of interesting. Giant canyons discovered in Antarctica. I saw this one a couple days ago. So apparently they found these giant, there's no images of them, but they found these giant valleys under, like the size, bigger than the Grand Canyon, pockets and valleys under the ice in Antarctica. Giant canyons discovered in Antarctica. Actually, I don't think there's any images of them. Antarctica hides giant canyons. So they're saying they're bigger than the Grand Canyon. Of course, the Grand Canyon looks a lot smaller to me than it used to. That's kind of an ME for some people. So it looks like there's like a whole... I don't know. That just kind of sounds like an interesting story to me. It doesn't mean too much. They're basically just saying that, oh, that could increase the ice melting and stuff like that. But to me, it just sounds like one of those ancient legends from the times of old, that there's like a whole valley hidden there under the ice. Oh, images. I don't know. Actually, Antarctica. Somebody mentioned this. Who was that?
La familia Rogue. Conócela en tu concesionario Nissan local.
Somebody mentioned on one of the about the ice wall. I know flat earths think that there's like an ice wall going all the way around, and Antarctica has like, but there does seem to be these ridiculous high ice walls now, and I see a lot of images of them. And before, there would be just it would come down kind of tapering to the edge of the ocean for me, and I've just been seeing so many images now of these like 100-foot tall ice walls. I mean, even when Antarctica was still at the North Pole, the areas near the ocean were still kind of low, and then it would gradually get higher and higher and cliff-like as you got further into the area. But Just seems like we're seeing tons of images like this, and so I don't know what's up with that. Okay, amazing footage. All right, I'm going to click on some of it. See, look at those walls. Now, some people were joking that it was on, there's one of the famous TV shows that recently had some kind of ice wall on it. And now, I mean, look at that. That just wasn't like that before. These walls are like 100 feet high. I just never saw anything like that. It used to be that the edges were down by the ocean. So I haven't really been able to find any info on it. If you type in ice wall, you get almost all flat earth stuff. There are not a lot of pictures or anything. So Escape from New York has some interesting residue for Statue of Liberty location. Really, did they still say that it's in New York? On Ellis Island there? That'd be interesting. Well, bedtime for No-No. Okay, I'll see you later. Thanks for coming. All right. Shandy Mink remembers shackles, but no slippers. See, I remember the chain links, and they would just disappear under the flowing robes, and there were no, and you could see a couple toes, but there were no slippers, and there were no actual clamp-on parts. I did not see the clamp-on parts. The pinky toe are strange now too. I think I mentioned before. Are we talking about human pinky toes? I was mentioning that on the edge of the pinky toe, there looks like there's more meat on the foot. And that was another person who mentioned that on my comments. And I think that is probably the case, at least for my foot. I checked Ghostbuster for the Statue of Liberty residue. There was no shackles there, and the foot was on the ground. Yeah. The thing is that current reality is saying, oh, almost nobody knew about it, and it was a little-known fact. So they'll just say, oh, well, those people who did the movie just didn't know about it. Because the story is you can't see them from the ground. That's why nobody knows about it. Which I could have bought if there was no ME. I would have just accepted that completely. But the thing is, I've been watching the shackles the chains, I should say, ever since they were mentioned. And so now I do know that they've changed. Rockin' it, Robin. Hi, Eva. New sub. Great investigating skills. Don't thank you. I do try. There's always more, and it's constantly changing. So let's see. I remember broken shackles or chains, but no rivets. Yeah, I don't remember those rivets either. Just chains for me like a couple weeks ago. Okay, so let's see what we're at. Okay, so I don't know if I covered who gave me all of the info, but the Baltic Sea salinity one was by Thomas Larson. He commented about checking that out. Another thing I did want to just mention is for a long time I was not seeing the moon during the day much. This last 2 weeks I saw it almost every day during the day. And for quite some time, they were saying, oh, you can barely see it during the day because it's too near the sun. It seems to me like the orbits have shifted a little bit again because now I actually saw the moon a bunch of times during the day. And even when it was only half a crescent, I saw it. Okay, and then I want to mention the Labrador Sea one. That was by Swayam Bushaman, who is somebody who comments on Retconned a lot, and he's the one who noticed that the Labrador Sea is there. Ooh, and I haven't covered the Labrador Sea yet, so let's do that. Labrador Sea. Okay, so this is kind of a small one, but images. So there's... Oops. No. Okay, so here's Canada, Hudson Bay. This area has kind of opened up a lot lately, and these have kind of squished over to the side, this little island here. And one thing he notices there's this thing called Labrador Sea. Before it was just Baffin Bay. There was not Labrador Sea. And so that's a new one. And up here, they also are calling this Northwest Passages a lot up in here. But yeah, so that's another new one. Labrador Sea was not on there before. I'm suspicious about these straits out here too, but I won't say for sure on that one. All right. Okay, now this one is from no one who commented on my YouTube channel, and there is, I don't know if you guys all saw that the half male, half female gynandromorph video where creatures were getting split down the middle, half male, half female. And, you know, that sounds fairly ridiculous, but it's real. And interestingly, now Shiva has that form. There is a form of Shiva where it is half male, half female, where it split down the middle. And that is this thing, Han, Arish, Wara. It's kind of a mouthful there. Ardhana, maybe I spelled it wrong. Images. Okay, so this is kind of a thing now in that tradition where it's half his wife Parvati and half him. Like they decided to combine so that they would never be separate from each other. And there's this whole convoluted story about it. And it's just weird because it's sort of matching some of the other stuff. The whole thing about Shiva, I mean, Shiva used to be a fairly simple concept, and now there's like these really long, weird stories and stuff, and it's constantly changing. In my timeline, Shiva was always female. Yes. Female with the 6 arms. And they always showed her with the big boobs and everything. Anyway, you guys, let's not argue about our own religious philosophies, because you guys are not going to agree with each other. It's just, at some point, you just got to accept that people believe what they believe. All right, let's see. All right, I got all those. This one's an interesting one. I am quite positive that this changed. I totally remember polar bears hibernating. And then they would say the female would come out of hibernation hungry. And there were so many images of that. And then they would say that the females would come out of hibernation several weeks before the males because they were more hungry because they had the pups, they had the offspring. And all this spiel about that. Well, now they're saying that polar bears don't hibernate and that the females do den up for a couple months because they have the offspring, that the males don't, and the other bears hibernate but not polar bears. And if all creatures that would hibernate, you would think polar bears would, because it's so freaking cold and icy and you can't find any food. But so they're saying that they can do some kind of specialized dormancy, but the males don't even really do it and all this stuff. So I don't know. That's kind of in flux, but they're definitely saying they don't hibernate. So there's a funny one for me. It looks like she has the condition brachymetatarsia. All right. Risky click of the day, as they say on Reddit. Brachymetatarsia. What the heck is that? One or more abnormally short or overlapping toes, metatarsals. Are we talking about the Statue of Liberty? Images. Who has the breaking metal? Oh. Oh, you know what? I just saw this on Reddit, too. I almost was going to put it on here. Basically just these weird lengths of toes and stuff. It's interesting that you brought it up because anytime something shows up on Reddit and like twice, I get suspicious of it. Look at that. Toes just all over the place. I mean, it wasn't really weird enough that I was going to put it on, but it's interesting that you mention it. All right, now I'm going back to look at the Statue of Liberty toes. I was so busy looking at the sandals, I don't think I really... Morton's toe. There's a second toe that appears longer than the big toe because the first metatarsal bone is short relative to the second. Michelangelo's David and the Statue of Liberty both have Morton's toes. Okay, so any toe that looks longer than the big toe, and you have Morton's toe. Or Greek feet. All right, images. I don't know why Statue of Liberty toes comes up with Morton's toe right away, but okay, yes, it does look like these toes are way longer than the big toe. Yeah, weird. Actually, you're right, those toes are pretty strange. Interesting. This is supposed to be her toe here, her foot. Huh. Weird. Man stands by the huge toes. See if I can get over. Of the Statue of Liberty, it is being, I assume, assembled here. I don't think we ever had so many images of... I never remember seeing any images of the Statue of Liberty being assembled. It was too far back in the old timeline to have a bunch of photography like that. But now there's just so many images, and it just looks weird to see a giant piece of the Statue of Liberty separate like that. Okay, we're not seeing a lot on toes. Let's just go with feet again. Yeah, that toe is way longer. Well, I mean, one could argue that they may not have spent a lot of time on her toes, but the thing is that those keep changing. So, I mean, I don't even know now. Did somebody really build the Statue of Liberty? Did the ME build it? I mean, is it really a timeline when someone did that, or did these things just grow? I really don't even know anymore. Okay, so let's see what we're at here. My boss is kind of obsessed looking at my strange toes and complimenting on them. Yeah. I don't know, you might want to wear closed-toed for a while and scare that boy off. She will soon have 6 toes. Who knows? Next change will be a hammer toe on Statue of Liberty. Yeah, they're not the world's best toes or looking toes right now. It seems she's coming to life. Well, she is stepping quite a bit. I almost wonder if she's stepping a little higher than last week. Then we have the Mt Rushmore with Washington kind of coming out also of the mountains. So I know it's kind of creepy. All right, this one's a quick one. There's been a lot of changes in giraffes, but I just wanted to mention that what I'm seeing now is there's this huge hump over here, and the neck only moves from there. And this is different for me, and also the neck is getting much fatter down here than I recall. This hump, I do not recall that being there even recently. See how they bend from way up here now. I think that this is getting a little higher. They all have this hump now. I just don't remember that being like that. The neck was lower down and there wasn't a hump. So anyway, just a small thing. But I mean, there's been other MEs about like the length of these ossicones. They call these little pokey things on the head ossicones. And there's a bunch of species of these now, whereas before there wasn't. And what the heck is that? Is that really their mouth? I don't remember their mouth looking all fuzzy like that. That's weird. Anyway, then so you'll see a lot of different styles in the patterning now, and some of them are really weird looking. For me, there was just one kind originally, but now we've got a bunch of species of them. The neck looks shorter because of that. Yeah, it kind of does. You know, maybe the neck just is shorter. Well, I don't know. Quite as long, or the legs are longer, or maybe here. When this moved back to here, it just makes them look really short too. Video. Are you talking about the video where Shell is not having the word Shell on their logo? It was not me. I believe that was World Church. Okay, anyways. All right, this one is a weird little story, and it just kind of reminds me of all that's going on with the animals. See if I can find this one. Tomatoes. Pillars. All right, so the story here is that when tomato plants get eaten by caterpillars, they can unleash a chemical that turns the caterpillars into cannibals. So the story is that caterpillars are known to eat each other if food is scarce. To be honest, I am not familiar with that storyline. So that is a little, they slipped that one in as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so the research is that somehow the tomatoes can cause the caterpillars to turn on each other and eat less of the tomato plant. So this kind of storyline where plants have warfare tactics and ways of communication and stuff has really expanded in the last month or so. I think we're going to start to hear more and more of that stuff. Let's see. Let me turn off the sound there. Let's see. Many insects are known to become cannibalistic when the going gets tough. It starts with one caterpillar biting another one, and it goes downhill from there. At the end of the day, somebody gets eaten. It's believed that the chemical methyl jasmonate is responsible for turning caterpillars into cannibals. So they did a whole test where they got some of that chemical, and they sprayed it around, and then they found that the caterpillars turned on each other and didn't eat that much of the plant. So he said the research suggested it was time to give plants a little more credit. Instead of being wallflowers who sit and wait for life to happen, plants respond to their environment with potent defenses, and these defenses make caterpillars more likely to eat other caterpillars. So anyway, yep, the plants are getting smarter. There used to be an evolution of giraffe pig. This looks a couple of steps before what it used to be. Shari D. Yeah, you know, I kind of wonder when they show, oh, this is how it used to be. I wonder if it's another reverse story where that when they say how it used to be, like there used to be millions of this animal, maybe that's the future. Maybe a lot of times when they say it used to be, it's just getting our minds used to the concept. We imagine how it used to be, and we kind of imagine it into life. It's going to be easier to document things that stay the same. Yeah, yeah, I know. Sometimes there's too many MEs in one day, and it's just like freaked me out a little bit. Be so much fun to try and ride a giraffe. I don't think you'd be able to stay on. But yeah, that's interesting, Shari D, about that. That's a good observation. Looking at what myth and what we're being fed in the media and how that relates to how the ME flows is, I think, definitely worthwhile. All right. All right. I think that's that page. All right. I do want to visit Mt Rushmore. There have been a few changes since the last video. I know it wasn't that long ago, but images. This one looks pretty good. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, not too bad. Okay. See if I can get this one bigger. All right, so if you remember recently, I was saying how Lincoln had no hair, but you could see he's grown a couple strands here. He's got hair that comes here and around here, like a little zigzag hairs. See if I can make this bigger. No, that's bigger. See right there? Hopefully you can see that. I don't think my picture is too big that you can't see that. Right here, there's zigzag hairs. I'm going to go back. So there's some right there. I can try it from here. Also, I remember I said that I thought something was going on the side of Lincoln's face. Right here, there's like a circle thing that's grown. And then it almost looks like he's growing an Indian headdress and he's got a little bit of hair. But I'm not sure what that's going to be, but keep an eye on that. Also, for a little while, somebody was commenting that they could see like a ponytail looking thing. There was kind of a strand coming down from Washington, and that was there for like about a day or two, and now it's gone. And the last thing, if I can find a good image, the glasses on this guy have really intensified, and he's got two, like, it looks like those little bumpers that are on the glasses. You can see those now, and I'm quite sure that those were not visible before. See if I can find a really good quality photo of these. You need a close-up one. From the right angle. Whoop. This one kind of shows it. Right here, you could kind of see. See if I can find a better image. Here. Here we go. There it is. Okay. Take a good look because I think these are coming in. And what I've really noticed is there's these little notches or tabs here that would be like where the glasses would set on your nose and you'd have little bumpers there. And those seem to be really coming in. And if you look here, I mean, it looks like they're going to put the glasses in, because I don't think you'd be bothered just doing a couple scrapes like that and then not have the glasses there. So I think they're coming in, but keep an eye there. I think you'll see more of those. And there's one other thing I wanted to mention about this. When I really thought back on it, what I really did remember was Mount Rushmore, the heads being sort of lower down in the mountain. I don't remember them being right on the top. And as others mentioned, I don't remember them kind of as jostled as they are now. I think what has happened is they've kind of risen to the top. And one thing that jogged my memory is somewhere there was an image of them with the mountain, another mountain behind them, because there's supposed to be a mountain behind the heads there, and from a certain angle, it looks like they're in the middle again. Is that really it? No, that's like an animation. See if I can find that one. I think that's how it used to be, but in order for these heads to come out, like Washington to come out, they'd have to be at the top. See if I can find that one at all. Oh, here, this is the one. So from a distance view, it looks again like the heads are in the middle. And this is how I kind of remember it, but I don't remember them all squished together like that with the heads pointing different ways. But I think this was how it originally was, and eventually it's changed to now that's just the back view. See if I can get that to be any larger. No, I can't. Let's try it like that. So yeah, I think this is kind of like more old world to me. And it was a while back, but I think I saw it just like they were in the middle of the mountain. Now what's happening is Washington is kind of peeking out of there. See if I can find and there's one image that I see now that I didn't used to see, and that's this one. From the side, you can now totally see Washington's head sticking out by itself. And I don't remember that being the case like that. I don't remember there ever being an image where he was not encased in the rock. So he's basically climbing out of the rock as far as I can tell. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but see, there's another view. Look at how much he's coming out. I mean, he's really not encased. He's getting, the back of his head is escaping. From that view, you could really see it. So, I don't know. And they're getting bodies now, so it'll be interesting to keep. I think we're going to keep an eye on that one. Okay, so we got that one. Okay. I don't know how many Americans are still awake, but this one was on Redcon. How many of you ever watched Beavis and Butthead? I'm not sure if that is on any non-American channels, but it's fairly famous here. And that one was found by Nathaniel Herbert, and that was on Redcon. I haven't seen it anywhere else yet. I remember Beavis and Butthead as Butthead being one word, and so it was Butthead, but apparently now it has always been hyphenated. The name of the friggin' thing is hyphenated now. And I don't remember that ever. And it's interesting because there was kind of a rumor swirling around that the ME does not like hyphens. But for me, at this one, it has put in a hyphen. That Butthead was just one word. I mean, usually when you have a name, you don't hyphenate it that much. There are a few exceptions. But anyway, so that one was just weird for me. Preliminal, always dislike Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, it's not really my thing either, but see, you spelled it like I remember it. I remember it, Beavis and Butthead is one word. I think a hyphen would have been too sophisticated for butthead. Yeah, really. Good point. Good point. Yeah, Shari D, it was one word. So anyways, it looks really weird. It just doesn't even, like, a hyphen doesn't even belong there. So it's extra weird to stick that in there. Okay. All right, the last one, just to give you nightmares. Asian tiger mosquito. So apparently these friggin' mosquitoes grow 20 times larger than a normal mosquito. They can get to be the size, like the length of a quarter. And supposedly they're starting to take over Florida now. So hopefully Floridians are all asleep and they won't know this, but I just saw this story the other day. Let's see if I can find that one. Mosquito, Florida. So they are supposed to be an invader, but supposedly they've been there quite some time and they're blaming it on the hurricane. Oh, more water has yielded more of these mosquitoes. So supposedly they've been there since 97. Was first documented in the United States and Texas in 85. A year later, the Asian tiger mosquito was found in Florida at a tire dump site near Jacksonville. Since that time, the species has spread rapidly throughout the eastern states, including all of Florida's 67 counties. Well, I don't know if you've heard of the Asian tiger mosquito, but it's 20 times larger, and the bite is supposed to be really painful. So there's the region that they exist. I can't swear that this is an ME because it's not my region, but let me know if you guys have heard about these things. Looks like South American mosquitoes. So anyway, hopefully that's one that shifts back out or becomes less spooky, because I don't really need a 20 times larger one. See where they even came from. So they're saying they expect a lot more of them because of the weather this year. That's weird. I don't really see a history on the things. Albopictus. That's the one. Let's see what Wiki has to say. Since the mid-60s, tiger mosquito has spread to Europe, Americas, Caribbean, Africa, and Middle East. Was one of the 100 world's worst invasive species, according to Global Invasive Species Database. Found in Memphis, Tennessee, blah, blah, blah. Not really seeing where it came from. Anyway, it looks like it, I would assume it came from Asia, but it looks like it's everywhere now, so. Anyways, 1:47. I think it's about time for me to hit the hay because it's getting close to 2 hours now, so. I will close it with the creepy mosquito. I don't know if you remember seeing that one before, but it seems to me that if it was in your area, you probably should have heard about it. Seeing as how it's going to be 20 times larger than your normal skeeter. Preliminary. Yep, never heard of tiger mosquito till now. It was supposed to be on the 100 most endangered species, or 100 most invasive species. But, you know, that's the kind of thing that the news loves to cover. You killer mosquito in an area near you. So it's something, if you watch the news, you should have heard about it. And it's supposedly it's been there a long time, but now they're saying that there'll be a lot more of that skeeter because of the hurricane. But I mean, like, Florida gets hurricanes lots of times. So I don't know. Well, anyways, I think it's about time for me to cut on out. So I will see you all. Thank you for coming. I'll be back next week about the same time, midnight for me. So this time I usually go about an hour and a half to 2. So anyway, hope to see you all again. And take care till next week. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.